Hello everyone and welcome back to Kart Ride Around Nothing. I hope to use this video today as an instructional video to help people who might not have gotten their first win on this game yet. As I recall, it took me many tries to get my first win, and it was very frustrating. The best thing I can recommend to people just starting out is get a private server. I personally can't get one because I use an Xbox and it doesn't give you the option. But if you're on a PC, you can get a private server so you're the only one out here. And then you won't have to deal with people like this that won't surrender their gray cart. All I want is a gray cart to use. Let me put some bait out here. See, this guy spawned a gray cart, but he sees my rainbow cart and he wants it, so he's stealing my cart, I'm stealing his cart, and everybody's happy. Because I really want to do this with the gray cart to show everybody that it can be done start to finish without too much effort. Okay, see that first transition I went right over there? You want to take those at about 10 miles an hour. Anytime the track meets another track, you want to do about 10 miles an hour or less. These turns right here, 15 miles per hour or less. Here's a transition right here, 10 miles per hour or less. And here comes a bump, always 12 miles per hour or less. And I know there's people out there saying, yeah, you can go faster. And you can, but you'll crash sometimes. This is a guaranteed win on Kart Ride Around Nothing. Who else is going to give you that guarantee? Nobody. If you do exactly what I tell you in this video, you are guaranteed in a gray cart to get a win every single time in Kart Ride Around Nothing. Now going up the helix, you want to keep it at about 14 miles per hour or less. So you can see I am very rarely, if ever, going to 15. I'm keeping it about 10, 11, 12, 13, sometimes 14. This little area right here, you want to keep it under 14 because if you go 15, sometimes you'll crash. And here you can get a little bit faster, but you still want to keep it under 20. To be really safe, you probably want to keep it under 18. And just do about 15 or 16 all the way around here. There's some bumpers ahead, make sure you're doing 11 or less. Because if you're doing 12, there's a chance you could crash. So 11 or less, take these turns doing 15 or less, and then going up this hill, doesn't really matter how fast you're going, as long as you know when you get to the top you need to slow down to 20 miles per hour or less in the circle. And once you're out of the circle, you want to tap the brakes and make sure you're doing about 10 or less when you go through this transition. Okay, again, you can go as fast as you want on this track, but when you get to that corner up ahead, you got to make sure you're doing 30 miles per hour or less. So get it down to about 29, that's perfect. And then jam on the brakes down the hill and only let up when you're halfway through this little turn right here. Okay, and you will come to a nice, smooth transition. Speaking of transitions, here's two of them, 10 miles per hour or less on both of these. On this corner, do 15 miles per hour or less. And then these bumps, always 12 miles per hour or less. Now this area right here, which I call the loop, when you have these double tracks, weird things seem to happen. But I noticed if you keep it at about 10 miles an hour, you'll make it every single time. So just keep it at 10. You can look, there's a guy coming way up at the top, but we have plenty of time, so we should be able to make it out of the loop before he gets to the bottom of the hill and causes us any trouble. Transition right here, 10 miles per hour or less. Back to that bump again, 12 miles per hour or less, and then just keep it 10 or less the rest of the way until you get out of the loop. Nice and easy. I don't know what it is with these double tracks, but they like to throw your wheels. Sometimes the wheels will go under the track and you'll get stuck. Sometimes they'll go over the track, you'll get stuck. These bumps, 12 or less. This turn, take it nice and easy. And then this transition up here, make sure you're doing 10 or less. Okay, now we're up to the switch. It's not rocket science, it's a switch. All you got to do is slow down a little and flick the switch. I don't know why people have so much trouble with that, but I see so many people fly off into space right at that point. The NPC carts, I just made a video a couple of days ago on how to deal with NPC carts, but basically just judge their speed and either shoot them until they're out of the way or slide in between them until they're out of the way and you'll be fine. Okay, this area right here you want to be doing 15 or less. Take it nice and easy. Going up this hill, keep it 15 or less. This little turn, 15 or less. And same with this hill, 15 or less. Now depending on how fast the carts are going, you're going to jump this little jump right here and you are going to stop. Now if the carts start exploding immediately, I mean these carts in front of you that are going through the railroad crossing, then usually it's safe to go while they're exploding. They'll just keep exploding and give you a nice little path that opens up where you can get through there. But if they're like this, there's just a whole bunch of them and they're just running across, just sit here and wait. It's only like a minute and a half. It's not a big deal. And make sure your back wheels are all the way up against the jump. You can see my wheels are touching that area that I just jumped over. Because if you get any closer, when these carts start blowing up, they'll probably take you with them. Because those little zaps that you see, the white light, if you're within like 3 or 4 railroad ties of those, it's going to blow you up too. Just the shock wave will hit you and blow you up. But this one's almost done. I'm looking over at the helix way off in the distance and I can see a cart coming up, but hopefully he won't be a problem when these trains are done blowing up and we're able to drive through here. But it doesn't hurt to look ahead and see what's coming. Best thing to do to avoid any trouble with people on the track at the same time as you is just let them go. Don't shoot at them. Don't try to outrun them. Just let them go. Wait till they get by you and then you can go. Okay, so this guy did not get stuck. He's coming down the main track right now, which is the same track that I need to get on, so I'm just going to wait for him. Not going to shoot him or anything, because if you do blow him up, the shockwave may blow you up too, so. Okay, now I'm going to get on the main track, and I'm going to be doing less than 10 miles an hour. Because you've all seen these speed limit signs that say speed limit 10 miles per hour. There's a reason for that, because these cops that come down the line will only chase you if they see that you're going 10 miles per hour or faster. Like this cop that's coming right now, I don't need to be afraid of him because he's that other guy's cop that just went by me. He was going faster than 10, so he's not going to try to kill me at all because I'm doing the speed limit. And a new one won't appear out of nowhere because I'm doing the speed limit. But if I all of a sudden right now gunned it up past 10 miles an hour, a new cop would appear and try to shoot me. So I'm going to take it nice and easy. I'm going to get right up to the elevator. And I am going to wait for the elevator to come back. And I will ride it up nice and easy and get to the dehumidifier with no problems at all. I'm looking at that big loop off to the right to make sure there's no carts in there, because when you do get to the end, if there's a cart in there, you're going to blow up and have to start all over again. So if you're ever up here and you see a cart in a big loop, just quit and go to another server, because it's a total waste of your time to finish the entire game, get to the end and blow up when you're within like 3 seconds of finishing. It's very frustrating. Okay, to get in the elevator, take it easy. You got about 10 seconds, that's plenty of time. Just get it up to 3, 4, 5 miles an hour and then start tapping your brakes. Get that front tire so it's about, well, at least it's in front of that first post that you see. You can see my tires up there and then there's a post. Make sure your tire's in front of that. And just ride the elevator up nice and slow. You can look to the left in the top of the dehumidifier. Make sure there's no carts up there that you're going to have to deal with. But mostly right now you should be focusing on that traffic light in front of you and see what color it is. That'll tell you whether you get time to go or not. So it just turned red, so I don't have any time to go, so I'm just going to take it nice and easy. Oh, little glitch there. My Xbox only records 10 minutes at a time, so every 10 minutes it'll flicker like that while I tell it to start recording again. Okay, up in this area, you are never going to crash if you keep it at 15 miles per hour or less. So these turns, always 15 or less. And there are people out there that are going to say you can go faster. It's like, yeah, go faster. Eventually you're going to crash and have to start all over again. But if you keep it 15 miles per hour or less in these turns, you will always make it to the dehumidifier. And you won't have to worry about crashing. And that's the purpose of this video. This is a guaranteed win in Kart Ride Around Nothing. If you obey these speed limits and do it on a private server where there's no witches or other players that are going to mess with you, you will win every single time. Okay, nice and easy into the dehumidifier. You don't want to go speeding in here because there may be other carts in there that you can crash into. You want to get rid of them before you even go in there, because people do leave their carts in here sometimes. Okay, and now you just wait a minute. Do not get out of your car. There's a big sign that says remain seated. That should tell you right there, remain seated. Because if you stand up, that laser that's coming here in a second will zap you and you will die. But anyways, we got half a minute here. Thank you again to all my subscribers. Can't believe I made it up to 500. That was quite a surprise when I saw it flip the other day. And hopefully that keeps going up. I do appreciate everybody's support. Okay, at the top of this hill, you want to get it down to about 8 miles an hour. Tap the brakes one last time and then let go. Don't touch the accelerator, don't touch the brakes, just let it naturally get down the hill with gravity. And you will make it through every time. Flick that switch and then tap the gas very slowly. Do not go above 10 miles an hour or you will crash. But keep tapping the gas until you get onto the straight track. And then you can go back to doing about 10-15 miles an hour around these turns. Okay, scary tunnel's coming, but first you get these two bumps. Make sure you're going 12 miles per hour or less. And do not hit this door. It will throw you off the track, so take it nice and easy. Get your speed down to 11 because you got bumpers coming. And if you're going faster than 11 over the bumpers, there's a chance you will crash. But you will never crash, and your cart will never come off the track if you're doing 11 or less. So make sure you got it 11 or less. Take it nice and easy around these turns. You can do up to like 15 to 20 miles an hour, but you don't have to. So nice and easy. And then start tapping the brakes because there's a door around this corner. You want to come to a complete stop. Let the door open. Do not hit the door or you will come off the track. And then go back to 11 miles an hour again because there's another set of bumpers coming up here. And don't worry about speed running. Again, you're going for your first win. The speed runs will come later. Once you get your first win, the game will appoint you a gold cart. And the gold cart, the brakes and the acceleration are much better than this gray cart. So you'll be able to do a lot more with the gold cart than you ever were with the gray cart. Okay, there's a red light up ahead here. Be prepared to stop because if you do go through it, you will fall off the track because this track, as you will see in a second here, actually shakes. You see the track shaking? If you actually went on that right now, your wheels would come off the track. And it's very difficult to get them back on the track. So just wait for the green light. Get it up to about 25, 30 miles an hour, and you can coast for a little while. But once you see these lights come on up here, make sure you slow down again to 15 miles an hour to make this turn. And then once you get through the turn and onto the straightaway, you can start accelerating again, 25, 30 miles an hour. And be prepared to start braking again when you see this first set of lights. Because these doors up here, you do not want to hit them. You'll come off the track. So make sure you're doing about 5 miles per hour when you get to these doors. And just take it nice and slow. There's 4 of them you have to get through right now. You don't have to gun it to get as close to the door as possible before it opens. Just take it like 3-4 miles an hour. Give them plenty of time to open. And once you are clear of the last door, you can start going faster again, maybe 20. But you see that flashing yellow light in the distance? That's another turn, and there's a door right after it. So start tapping the brakes when you start getting close, because you do not want to be going fast when you take this turn, because you will hit the door, which is right there. So again, try to come to a complete stop. Let the door open, and then you can get back up to about 20-25 miles per hour again. But start slowing down to get ready for that last door. And that last one, again, you want to be doing about 5 miles an hour when you go through it. Give it plenty of time to open, because even if it's halfway open and you hit it, it'll throw you off the track. Okay, this turn right here, there's bumpers right after it, so slow down so you're doing less than 11. And then just take it nice and easy, go over the bumpers. You can get up to like 12 miles an hour and get ready for the next bump, which is right in front of you. And get ready for the turn. Now this turn here, you want to be doing above 10, but less than 15 miles an hour. Because if you're going too slow, you'll come off the track. If you're going too fast, you'll come off the track. And then once you go over this big bump, get it down to about 15 miles an hour. Because if you ever get it up to about 17 or 18, chances, well, I won't say chances are, there is a chance you'll crash. It doesn't happen that often, but I've had it happen at 17 miles an hour that I've crashed. So I always try to keep it around 15 or 16. There's a transition right here, so get it under 10. And then this area here is easy. Just keep it around 14. When you start going up these little hills, give it a little bit of gas, and then let it coast to the bottom of the hill. Give it a little bit of gas on the next hill, and then let it coast to the bottom of the hill. And do that all the way around these. As long as you're giving it a little bit of acceleration, it'll stick to the track and you won't fall off. This one's a little bit steeper, so you got to give it a little more gas than the other ones. And then make sure you don't go too fast up here. If you're going like 18 or 19, you're going way too fast. Make sure it stays under 15 around this whole turn right here. And another transition, less than 10. Going down this hill, I start at 10 and I tap the brakes all the way down because you don't want it to get away from you. I've actually crashed here going like 16 miles an hour, so you want to make sure you keep tapping those brakes going down that hill. And again, let it coast. Give it a little acceleration. Let it coast down the hill. Little bit of acceleration. Okay, and now you're on the straight track. Start looking at those NPC carts in front of you. See how fast they're going. And try to judge the speed, because you're going to have to slide in there in between them. Especially in the gray cart, because your gray cart doesn't have a gun that reloads fast. So you're going to have to judge the speed. Slide in there, but not too fast, because you're going to have to jam on the brakes here to make sure you don't hit this one in front of you. And then just tap the accelerator a little bit and get in between the two NPC cars. Now, you're too close to the one in front of you to shoot it, because you'll probably blow yourself up too. So just sit there and watch the one in front of you and make sure you don't run into the back of it. Take it nice and easy. Become an NPC car. Pretend you're one of them. Just maintain your position, maintain your speed, and they won't even know you're there. Watch these bumps. You don't want to be going more than 12. Not like you have a choice, because you got an NPC cart in front of you. But if you didn't, you still have to watch your speed here, because those bumps will throw you off if you're going more than 12 miles an hour. Not to mention, you're in one of those tracks that has 4 tracks, so there's always a chance it could mess with your wheels also. Okay, this is a little tricky going uphill. You want to give it enough speed where you're keeping up with the NPC cart in front of you. But you don't want to give it too much speed where you'll hit it, and you don't want to give it too little speed where you'll start sliding back down and run into the cart behind you. So just little taps on the accelerator. Shouldn't have to use the brake at all, because if you're not giving it enough acceleration, it'll start backing up automatically anyways. And again, this is not a speed run. This is a guaranteed win. 90% of winning this game is to be patient. Trying not to shoot anything that you don't have to shoot. Trying not to go fast in areas where you probably shouldn't go fast. Okay, now, when you get to the top, tap the brakes a few times to make sure there's not any built-up acceleration that's going to throw you ahead at like 20 miles an hour. And then we're back in this loop area again. So do the same thing you did last time. Take it nice and easy. 15 miles or less around this corner. 12 miles per hour or less over these bumps. And as you can see, I'm doing well less than that because I am so close to the end, I don't want to take any chances right now of messing up. And I am definitely going to keep it under 10 when I get to this straightaway. And it doesn't look like anybody's coming. Nobody's going to bother me. Hopefully. Be less than 12 when you go over this last bump. And now you get back onto the single rail tracks again. So you can speed up a little bit. I usually get it up to about 15 miles an hour here, but when you get to this point, you want to slow down to 12 because you want to be doing 12 miles an hour when you go down this hill, and then just coast down the hill. And keep coasting until you get about halfway around this turn and then jam on the brakes. And that'll give you enough time to stop for the red light. Okay. Once you are past the red light, keep it about 15 miles an hour this whole way. You can take these turns at 15. You can get to the straightaway, get it up to 15 again. You don't want to be doing any faster than that. And when you get to these little hills, just give it a little bit of acceleration to get it up the hill. And then take your finger off the accelerator and let it coast. A little bit of acceleration. And then let it coast, because if you push down too much, that car will fly away from you if it gets above 20 miles per hour, and it'll crash. So you just want to give it enough acceleration to get up the hill and then slow down a little bit when you're on the top of the hill. And you can clear a couple of these carts out of your way. They're not really bugging you, but they are slowing you down a little bit. So as long as you got a safe distance, you can take a shot at them. And when I say safe distance, I mean 5 or 6 railroad ties. So I look ahead. That blue cart in front of me, he's probably about 9 railroad ties ahead of me. I could shoot him if I wanted to, but there's no reason to. I'm almost done with the game, so I will let him live and take it nice and easy. Here's a transition, so 10 miles per hour or less. And now we get ready for the hill. Start slowing down. Come to almost a complete stop at the top of the hill, and then never let it get above 7 miles per hour. You want to just release the brake a little bit, let it coast a little while, but then tap the brakes again and keep it under 7 miles per hour, but not 0, because that'll make you come off the track too. So just a little bit of momentum to get down the hill, but never above 7. Okay, when you get here, well, we just saw the light turn green, so we know we got plenty of time. And the car in front of me was already over that first bump that I'm about to hit. And I did look up and see that there were no cars coming, so I went for it. But the best thing to do there is wait, see if there's any cars coming above you, see if there's any cars in front of you. Make sure there's no debris on the track. And then go, but keep it about 12 miles an hour, because if you go faster than 12 miles an hour over these bumps, sometimes you'll crash. Now you can see the elevators coming down. So what are you going to do? You're not going to do anything. Don't even think about going for it, because you are waiting for these NPC carts to go by, and then you are taking it nice and slow up to where that elevator just was. Believe me, if you had gone for it, you would have either crashed, or you would have been going so fast when you got to the elevator you wouldn't have been able to stop and you would have shot right over it. So again, be patient. Doesn't hurt to wait for the elevator. It only takes about a minute for it to cycle and come back down again. And you can kind of take a look around still, make sure there's no witches in the game that are coming to get you, or other cars that are coming. Yeah, there's a car up there, but he's not bugging anybody. But really, you don't even have to do that. You know why? Because you're on a private server right now, and there's nobody else in the game except for you and little NPC carts. So you don't have to worry about witches or other carts messing you up. Okay, elevator's coming. This one's a little faster than the other one. It only lasts about 8 seconds. So same thing though, you got plenty of time. Just take it nice and easy going in the elevator. Tap the brakes a few times to get it to stop. Make sure your wheel's in front of that first post. Always make sure Bacon's still smiling. As long as he's smiling, everything is fine. And you have to remember, when you're upside down, your controls are suddenly reversed. So your accelerator is now your brake, and your brake is now your accelerator. So hit the brake until you're up to about 12 miles an hour, and then let go and don't touch anything. No accelerating, no braking. And you should make it through the big loop just fine. I get it up to between 12 and 14 miles an hour, and almost never do you crash in the big loop as long as you go in those speeds. Okay, let it coast a little while and then start tapping the accelerator, which is now your brake. And slow down before you get to the dehumidifier. Make sure nobody's in the dehumidifier. And then nice and easy, pull into the dehumidifier. And again, what does that sign say? Remain seated. So what am I going to do? I am going to jump out of my car. You know why? Because I have 1,000 wins, and I do not want to get 1,001 wins. I want to keep it at a nice, perfect 1,000. So here's what happens when you do something like jumping out of your cart in the dehumidifier. You explode. And you don't get credit for the game, even though you're like 1 second away from winning. But remain in your cart. You will get the win. And then it'll take you to the area outside the second dehumidifier that has the green and the 2 yellow buttons. And then you can decide whether you want to go back and spawn somewhere else, or if you want to start a new game, you press the green button. But I'm going back to the original spawn point, so I can make sure I did not get credit for that win, because I want to make sure I always have 1,000 wins, because that is a nice round number, just like 1,000,000. And if I round up my subscribers, which right now is like 514, I've got 1,000,000. Okay, let's pass out some rainbow carts, because we were successful with completing the game with a gray card. And let's look at the big board. Yeah, I still got 1,000 wins. But it wasn't always easy, and I never did have that private server, so it was harder on me than it will be for most of you. But best thing I can tell you is keep plugging away, and eventually you will get your 10 wins and get your rainbow card. And then it's up to you if you want to go any further than that. But you all take care and have a good day. Bye-bye.